It was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be
forward.
like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have
Corrupt
sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
I'm Joe Mennel from Street Talk, and today's subject is going to be breaking the stigma of mental health.
My name is Louis Ngoro. I am a recovery coach and a recovering alcoholic as well.
I'm Mervyn. I'm an addictions counselor / coach, and I'm in recovery as well.
I am just a normal 54-year-old male. I work for myself. I also am in recovery. I've had mental health issues since I was very young.
My experience with depression was, I didn't know this was depression. Just didn't feel like being around people. I didn't want to talk about what was bothering me. And I wanted to sleep all the time and not productive. So I became the lazy son, and that caused more problems. And for me, because no one really got to ask me or think I needed to go see a medical professional, I found alcohol and kind of fixed the problem for me in the moment. And I also discovered sleeping pills. What a combination. So I was self-medicating, and with the alcohol, with the sleeping pills, that was such a vortex. And I think it spiraled to a point where I was now entertaining taking my life, suicide. And now it would play even further to, okay, so how do I do this? What's the best way to do it?
When I went through my divorce, I had nowhere to go. That was one of the most difficult times of my life. And that is when my mental health took a huge knock. And I was like you, Lewis. I turned to the bottle. And when I turned to the bottle, I was just happy to stay at the bottom of that bottle, and it made my mental health worse and worse and worse. I went into such a deep depression that the thoughts of suicide, the thoughts of worthlessness, the thoughts of deep, I can't get the word out now. Yeah, but worthlessness were there. I'm not worthy of even being recognized.
I'm a 38-year-old man now, and when I was 20, my brother committed suicide. I found him dead in the house that we grew up in. And if I think about it now from an adult space, I think he was depressed for a long time, but the reality is also that we didn't know that there were resources. Do you know what I mean? I think it's also like a thing of being under-resourced, of the understanding of, this is like 18 years ago?
I don't think anybody chooses to be depressed, to have anxiety. I struggled at times just to leave the house. I didn't enjoy that. It's not like I was having a big party all by myself. I wanted to go out into the world and be someone and be the best version of myself. But something was not making it right. Something wasn't happening. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure it out.
We suffer, we are really suffering. Can lie in bed for 10 days. the last thing on my mind is where to get something to eat. I'm just so depressed. Yeah, maybe a good way to take myself is starve myself to death. But man, I don't want to go and speak to anybody about this because they're going to think I'm crazy. They're going to, it's fear. I think a lot of men are driven by the fear inside as well. We are fearful to open up to other men, to other people, to society in general. We're fearful that we are judged. We are fearful that people won't see us as strong enough. We are fearful that people will see us as sort of incapable of being a man.
The conversations, I believe they need to go louder, and because a lot of men are suffering in silence and are dying in silence. And I really feel there are resources out there that can be accessed. Mervyn is doing an amazing job working with people that have mental illness issues.
I think the biggest problem amongst us males is our bloody ego. Our bloody ego gets in the way. And we say, oh, I can't talk about that. I'm showing that I'm a weakling. I'm showing that I can't handle life if I had to admit that outside of this mask that I'm putting on in front of you, I'm actually dying inside because I wore so many masks. And, to average Peter, Paul, and Jack out there, what's wrong with Brent? Nothing's wrong with Brent. He's fine. I spoke to him yesterday. He was great. Meanwhile, I leave that place and I'm driving home in a bucket of tears because I do not feel I can express how I'm really feeling inside. I can't tell my male friends that I'm really dying inside. And this is what I'm feeling.
They say charity begins at home. And I honestly feel the conversations need to also be had at home. There's a lot of courage that needs to happen within families. It might be difficult when we've gone for so many years and we don't speak about mental health. I'm at a point now, I check in on my brothers, and it's not just a normal phone call to say hello, but how are you really doing? What is going on? And are you struggling with something? Do you want to share about anything?
I mean, I think 80% of our patients, our clients are Black in the facility that I work in. And I'm smiling, and why I'm smiling is because there's more of an open-mindedness to psychiatric illness, more of, I mean, it speaks to itself, right? I mean, I think it's what Lewis was mentioning is, we're evolving and we're having these conversations, in Black communities, and which is beautiful. So there's like an open-mindedness. I mean, I think back in the day it was, you were probably called mad, or, like Lewis was saying, you're lazy, or you've been bewitched, or you know what I mean,
I mean, I could have been in bed for 7, 8, 10 days, and now they've taken me to a hospital to get some help, but no one's got a solution for me. I have to wait for a social worker, and whatever the process is, for the person that is suffering from the mental health issue, I think we need more compassion and sensitivity around it, and reacting quickly, I would say, because in the moment that you wait on something, you wait for a better opportunity to help the person, it might be too late. But my main point on this is to start having the conversations with family about what are we really struggling with and how can we get help and where can we get help from.
If you're poor and depressed, you don't have resources. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, you know, psychiatric medication is expensive. To go see a psychiatrist is expensive. The whole process also, when you look at the system, the way the process, it's a process for you to get an appointment with a psychiatrist, with a psychologist, if you look at it from a government perspective. So there are all these hurdles and challenges that frustrate me of like putting better systems in place so people can get the support they need. I mean, you spoke about it, Lewis, where you said, you know, where it's too late, we get to a place where it's too late. And then it's like, no, well, you know, he killed himself. How did he kill himself? You know, no, but the behavior was there for a long time, but we did nothing about it.
I really think we need to drop our ego. Also stop judging other males who start, you know, who open up and say, hey, today I'm feeling depressed. Today I'm down. To actually feel empathy and feel a little bit of compassion.
When I talk about like traumatic experiences in my family, we laugh about it because we're so uncomfortable of how do we talk, you know, we don't know how to talk about it. And I think like the important thing is I need to go to the trauma, because I think trauma has a big impact, you know, of what happened in me being traumatized as a result of growing up in an alcoholic home, as a result of being growing up in an abusive home, and then how I lived my life as an adult and the man I became, right? So unlearning those behaviors, dealing with the trauma, because there's a lot of trauma, and unpacking that trauma through therapy, through men's groups, through these kind of spaces, instead of, because I mean, what I do is I deflect, you know, like I know, so, you know, I mean, some of the men spoke about, you know, the alcohol became the solution, because that's what it becomes. The alcohol and drugs kind of become the solution to actually what's going on.
When we look at a whole nation carrying such a mindset, then we start to look at how much harm, how much of a pandemic we're sitting on. My dream is to create a wellness place where anybody can come and find a safe place to better themselves and find healing.
And my dream is to co-create a world of healing by speaking my truth and being vulnerable.
My dream is to bring the whole of humanity to realize that we are all one. We all come from one source and we all love. And that if we all realized that we come from one creator to change the world by spreading that love and that light.
Yazi, you should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong. You should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong.